morning, it's day 127 on the PCT. It is cold and windy. I think it got below freezing last night. We got on trail today at 7:15, which is doing pretty good for me these days. There's frost on my tent. Hi guys! Frost on the sand. This is tan sand with white frost on it from the dew, so it's still pretty cold. Okay, made a mistake on the trail here. I've already hiked this part. There was a hairpin turn, and somehow I ended up back on the road going the opposite way. So I'm repeating this section, which is not what I wanted to do. Okay, sun is out, starting to get some nice views. And San Jacinto is probably that distant peak in the middle there. Not 100% sure. Okay, it's a little crazy, but there's little flakes of snow or ice coming down. It's sunny. I don't know if you can see that. You see it on the trail, those white, mostly rectangular, so I guess there's more ice than snow. It's possible the ice flakes are coming off the trees here, but I don't see if they're covered in any ice. It's a giant pine cone, I don't want it to land on me. It comes off. My guess is that this big cloud here is precipitating, and the wind is just carrying it this far. The cloud's not very close, but the wind's pretty strong. Down there is my first good look at Mission Creek. It's mostly a dry creek bed. There should be some water flowing through it though. But the trail got washed out last year in the flooding from Hurricane Hilary. Shards are still falling. I don't know if you can see. Maybe you can see some. So, a few of them hit me in the face. There you might be able to see. Looks like snow, but they're really those shards of ice. They're falling. When I was facing the other way, where I hit the turn, some of them hit me in the face. Not as big as that one I was holding earlier, but now they're hitting me in the back, which is not a big deal. But I wouldn't want to be hit in the eye by one of these big ones. So I don't know how cold it is. It's probably about, I don't know, 38, 40 degrees. And maybe freezing in the wind chill. But it's obviously a lot colder up higher where the clouds are. And so these are falling and mostly melting right away, except in the shade where they're accumulating a little bit. There we go. Now it looks more like snow. It's 1:45. Mission Springs Trail Camp, San Jacinto National Monument. I'm on the PCT. You can see it's above this. This is Mission Creek here. There is water there, but eventually I'm going to drop down into there when this gets washed out. There's a waterfall up ahead, so at some point I'm going to have to come back to the PCT to avoid the waterfall. Okay, so here this looks like this got washed out. I'm expecting a lot of stuff like this where it's climbing down and climbing back up again. So here's a spot where the PCT got washed out. This water came through here. The trail used to go right across there. You can see that's the PCT, but I just went up and around down this way, so I didn't have to go down in that ravine. You can see the creek bed down there, you know, walking along there. A lot of rocks and stuff, debris. It'll be a little slower, not as cruisy as a maintained trail. Another trail washout here. I'm just gonna walk down this one rather around it. So apparently the trail is washed out up ahead, and there's a suggestion to come down here. Looks like there's some cairns, so this is probably the way. I'm going to scramble down. I see some footsteps over there, just to show you what I'm looking for. So these two rocks here, obviously somebody placed them there, and that little stand of rocks there, looks like they were placed there, not natural. So this is probably the way. The other thing to look for, somebody put this piece probably intentionally across the trail here. So this is what it looks like in the creek bed. Came up from up there. Okay, so I think I went a little too far downstream. I'm gonna go back upstream. Okay, there's a little ravine wash here. I think I'm gonna try to see if I can get back up to the trail. Okay, that worked out okay. Trail's here. Here's another washed out section. Trail goes there, gets washed out. Went down into the ravine, scrambled up here in the trail. It's pretty good here. Yeah, here's another washout section. Trail comes down this way. This is all washed out. Looks like I can scramble. Okay, and another wash. Looks like the trail continues up there. I'm gonna stop a little early today and dry out my tent. Got pretty wet with condensation on the inside and frost on the outside. So I'm gonna let that dry out for half an hour, something like that. Maybe dry out my sleeping bag too. So I got a little tent spot here. There's a creek. That's not Mission Creek, but that flows into Mission Creek. Did about 15 and a half miles today. Did not finish Mission Creek. I got another 8 miles or so to do tomorrow. So kind of a short day today, but this is probably the best tent site for the next 8 or 10 miles, judging from the comments. As you can see, there's this tree that fell down, probably in that hurricane, tropical storm, probably when it hit here, Hilary. It was a widowmaker, but it's down, so I'm not worried about that. I do have some shelter here. There is a breeze. Will probably be cold and windy tonight.